Hi, Daniel. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
It's so great to see you. I appreciate our conversation so much. Thank you
Right, thank
for
you.
uh, doing this other project. I mean, thank you for always accepting my projects.
Yeah,
First of all, and this one means so much to me. We are going to like discuss some songs and maybe in the future albums. And I really appreciate we are doing this together because I consider you to be one of like the most deepest people I've
because
ever
yeah,
met.
right.
So
Thank you.
yeah,
I don't know if that's thank you or it just means I'm like too serious. I don't know. So thank you. I guess if it's a compliment, thank you.
it was a compliment. Yes,
Right.
I
Yes.
mean,
Thank you.
or a
Right.
fact. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think I'm that deep. But sometimes I just like I think I've told you before. I rationalize as I talk.
Mhm.
So sometimes it sounds deep, but I'm just like rationalizing and going on. But thank you, thank
Okay,
you.
okay, okay. So we are going to talk about a song called Happiness that
Right.
we both have listened. And I'm going to share my screen with you because I would like us to like remember the lyrics of the song.
Okay.
So can you see the screen?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Great.
perfect. So it is a song by Taylor Swift. Can I say it belongs to the album or it is in the
It
album?
is no. It is on the album, on the Evermore album, or it is part of the Evermore album. You could say.
Hmm. Okay, so it is on the Evermore album,
Mhm.
and I remember listening to the song the first time, and I think the first time that I have listened to the song, I
First, like listened.
the
Sorry.
first time, yes, the first time I listened to the song, uh, I wasn't actually the first time I listened to an album. I don't focus on the lyrics, just on the melody. I like to get like a sense of the album. I'm not even paying attention to what is being said, but I remember listening to the song, and then the first sentence that
Stop.
became intelligible. I was going to say to
Mhm.
me, not even
Mhm.
no, not even sure if that's a word.
What,
Uh,
intelligible?
yeah,
Oh,
it
it's
is.
fine. Yes.
So it was this like that there will be happiness after you, but there was happiness because of you. Both of these things can be true. There is happiness, and then I remember thinking about something that I once read, actually something that I once heard. Uh, in a podcast. A friend of mine, she has a podcast. She helps people organizing their lives. And she said that the deepest truth that she discovered, she read in a book, and it was um, that being mature or being an adult is holding two seemingly contradictory truths,
Mhm.
one in the left hand and the other in the right hand, and
Mhm.
being comfortable with things that apparently contradict themselves.
Right.
And because I tend to be very, not that logic, but whenever I have conflicts or things that I don't quite understand, I'm very uncomfortable and I need to like dive in it and try to
Right.
understand and
Yep.
ask questions and what did you mean by that or by this, and because I cannot like allow
Mhm.
things to be, you know,
To just
not
be.
just be. Yes. So when she's saying that this person that she's apparently is in love with or was in a relationship with, she
Mhm.
was happy with him, he's
Mhm.
leaving, and that there she's certain that it's going to be happiness
Happiness.
after him,
Right.
and those two things can be true at the same
Mm.
time.
Right.
I was like, because when a relationship ends, we tend to resent that and
The person. Yeah.
to resent the person, even to go through that pain.
Mhm.
So for me, it was like, wow, that's so mature to recognize that it wasn't all bad.
Right.
Maybe it ended bad because
Mhm.
things they tend to end badly.
Right. Yeah, I have no, I do agree with you about, I agree with your friend about the contradiction thing. I feel like a lot of people don't just maybe stop and realize that it's possible for two things to exist and not be like the same, first and foremost. It's possible for two things to exist and be the same just in different times. Also, when I was reading the lyrics of the song, because I'd listened to it but hadn't paid attention to the lyrics, and thanks to you, I did pay attention to the lyrics. I thought that was like just the most interesting part. And I like how it is kind of like a song about happiness. And when I saw, okay, happiness, it's going to be a song about getting over someone or
Yeah.
whatever. And I like the route that she went with it. But about the being, I have my own ideas of why people are always angry or sad after at the end of a relationship.
Mm,
But and I think it's because of like what we consider a happy relationship in
yeah.
general. I think a lot of people consider longevity as
Yeah.
as the equivalence of happiness, when like the happiness doesn't have to be the same as being in a long-term relationship, but that's just another thing. So yeah, I do think that it's important to recognize that if you were happy before you met this person and happy when you were with this person, then there is still the existence of happiness after that person.
Yeah.
The happiness is not just going to leave you after that person. And if we just understand that we are getting to happiness again, then we wouldn't be so like messed up because of the end of a relationship. I don't think I get really messed up at the end of a relationship. And I thought that it was just a failure on my part to be like emotional. But I
Mm,
think that early in my life, I just realized that you get over it.
yeah.
And that is fine. And your life becomes normal again. It hurts in that moment, but
Yeah.
you will get over it and it will
Yeah.
be fine. And I don't hate anybody that maybe hurt me even, because there was a time I really liked that person,
Yeah.
and that was my my choice. you know, and there was a time I really liked that person, and there was a time I was happy with that person, and I do
Yeah.
cherish, and I learned over time just to treasure that moment instead of
Mhm.
treasuring the moment everything went bad, because I mean, what is the point of that? So I
Yeah.
do like the song. All that I'm saying, so I do like the song. I like the
Yeah.
description of being of before and what it was in, and yes, the
Yeah.
pain that comes after, but the
Mhm.
realization that it will still be better.
Yeah,
It
it's
will
very
be.
positive. Yes.
Yeah.
I think, Daniel, the reason why we suffered and you don't, but we
No,
usually,
I'm not saying I don't suffer, but like I feel I don't. I'm not saying I don't suffer, but I kind of don't stay
yeah.
in this pain, because when I realized that the only time that I have stayed in the pain is not knowing if it was over or not.
Mhm.
But immediately there's the realization, okay, that this time in my life that was happy, it has come to an end. I have to move on. And that is just my mindset. Just move on when you realize that it's done.
Yeah. 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 But I think
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
reason
go
for
ahead.
that is, and in the song, when she said, and in the disbelief, I can't face reinvention. I haven't met the new me yet. And I think it's because we suffered, because we somehow we create another selves for us, another, not another
For ourselves.
personality for ourselves.
Mhm.
We are different people when we are in relationships, and if that relationship lasts too long, it's possible that we lose the sense too long.
Too long is a cynical thing to say.
Why?
No, I mean, like, too long is like just more than it should have been.
Yeah. No, because I actually I believe that there is a sad ending to everything, don't you?
Mhm.
What do you
Yeah, I do
think?
agree with you. I do agree
Yeah.
with you. That
And
Mhm.
oh yeah, tell me, sorry.
No, I was gonna say yes about the being different, and in this line, yes, when, and I think maybe it's in this song or another song where she says like she gave her entire self or something.
Yeah,
Maybe in
all her
some, I'm not sure.
best. Yeah, this
Right.
one.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly. And that is the thing, is that when we are with people, we become different. And it's not necessarily a bad thing so much as we become these other people with people. And when we leave, we were so much. of this other person
Yeah.
that it is hard to go back or to become another person, a new
Yeah.
person, or just go back to who you were before. So yeah, I
Yeah.
understand where that, like when you're stuck in that place where
Yeah.
you just don't know who you are or who you
Yeah.
want to be moving forward because you feel like you cannot be who you were with this person anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the solution to that is try not to lose the sense of who we are, even though
Exactly.
we are living in a relationship and we want that to last. But
Hmm.
I think maybe people they tend to um not have their friends around too much as they used to be. So I
Right.
think our friends are a great part of who we are as well.
Hmm.
So if we, when we are in a relationship, we keep them distant, it's
Right.
bad. I think
Yeah.
it, they, I think, yeah, I think it's difficult when it ends to
To
keep,
go back to these
to
people
go
for example.
back.
Right now, I
Yeah.
think it's a very big. I joke, but I've said this to people, and I joke because I'm not married. But I say to people, like, if you want the secret to a happy marriage, stay away from your spouse. Just-
Oh,
no,
wow.
I kid, but I feel like people think that they must be together all the time with this person, and they must become
Yeah.
their all in all, and that is a recipe for disaster, in my
Yeah.
opinion, because you're just too much of something really does become bad at some
Oh,
point.
yeah. Yeah.
It does become really bad. But yeah, it's getting like forgetting your own self when you are in a relationship with someone. And I think this lesson, another thing that I don't believe I need to do, and maybe I'm bad at relationships, is compromise in the future. I'm not great at relationships. I'm single, like chronically single, but
Chronically single. Wow.
but but I don't think that compromise is such
Uh,
a very good message to teach in relationships. Yes, it's great. Like people talk about balance. Oh, you need to give up something, and this person needs to give up this and give up this, give up that. But by the time you've given off and given off and given off, what is left of you? So I believe
yeah.
like people should just be themselves and
Yeah.
accept who that person is totally, and all this compromising and removing bits of yourself to fit another person in it,
Yeah.
when it ends, when it eventually does come to an end somehow, what will you do with the missing spaces there
Wow.
in that
Yeah.
moment? And
Yeah.
so I think that kind of that kind of adds to this thing where you just lost after a relationship, when it's a person and we shouldn't be feeling this lost after a relationship, but you just don't have a lot of yourself and you cannot find it anymore, or you cannot find it for that time until you just fill it up with your by yourself,
Wow. Yeah.
in my in my opinion. But again, chronically single.
Chronicles. Okay. Moving
Right.
forward.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah. So then, when she says in this pre-chorus,
Yeah.
uh, I would have loved you for for a lifetime, leave it all behind, and there is happiness. I think she's being so mature. Like, let it go. Like
Right.
realizing that the pain of letting go, it is difficult, too huge, like difficult, but at the same time, looking at the prospect future and and realizing that there is good also in letting go of those sad emotions. It's
Right.
painful, but also good. And I think when we are in that situation, we don't want to let go. I don't know. It's just because I think the sense of being selfless, no, without a self, the sense of self. What am I saying? It makes sense. The
Right.
sense of being, of not knowing who you are,
Okay.
it's too painful. So we tend to
You cling
remain,
to, yeah.
cling to
Yeah.
that for longer than you should have. So I really admire you for being able to pick yourself up and gracefully
Moving
moving
on.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it is a good thing for me because I will be honest with you, I have cried before at the end of a thing. I have sat on a, and that was pretty much the last time I felt that bad. I have sat on a bus. I remember going to work, and I have to be very charismatic for my work, and I have to be very smiley. But I cried before, and I cried during my break and stuff. And I don't feel shame about these things. I
Yeah.
think it's important, and it was necessary. And
Yeah.
after all of that crying, I realized like I was just hurting myself in that position. I couldn't think of
Yeah.
anything. Everything just seemed like to bring more hurt. And I
Yeah.
was listening to music that reminded me of this hurt, and it was
Yeah.
ridiculous. And so from that time, I made up my mind that when something is over, I need to move on because I
Yeah.
need to help my own self and just not put myself in that situation. And yet, I think it's important, as you said, to recognize that yes, it is painful to move on. It is painful to leave something, especially when people have attached a lot of themselves to it. Again, the thing with longevity, especially
Yeah.
when you've given a long part, like a huge part of your life and a long
Yeah.
time to some
Yeah.
kind of situation, it's difficult to move on, and it's easy to say just move on, less easy to do, but important and crucial to recognize that if I just let go, I will be able to find another me, or I'll be able to find happiness. I just really need to let go
Yeah.
because it's just like pulling me back and just holding me in that same position. So I don't think that I don't have the strength to let go, but I have the understanding of the importance of letting go. So
Yeah.
although I feel terrible at some, like for some time, that I have to just stop this thing or just end this thing that made me happy, I still understand that I have to do it. It's like injections, you know. They're hurt for a second, they're hurt for some time, but you know that you need it, so you
Yeah.
still have to take them, right? And
It
that's
is a good analogy. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
and that's it, right? And
Yeah.
so I just like pick myself up and continue. And thanks to the way I work, I've been working for the past couple of years. I really don't have time to cry.
Yeah, as we become older,
Yeah,
all that suffering and drama loses faces. Like there's
yeah,
no time to
right.
teach. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
no, right. No matter how important I think it is to cry, I really think that is part of the healing process as well. In any like breakup or relationship or any kind of thing that ends that hurts you, I think part of the healing process is to cry, to
yeah.
release the pain that you feel somehow, and cry a lot. Although I think it's really important, and I tell people like schedule a cry. Really, you're going through a lot of things. Schedule some time to cry and do it, and you will feel a lot better.
Oh,
And although I really like that, it's difficult to get like a good 30 minutes cry in with
yeah.
my schedule.
No, yeah. No,
Right.
yeah. I like that. So I was going through something. It was not love related,
Mhm.
but I was devastated this Saturday.
Right.
No, yes. No, it was Friday. I was very sad about something that happened, not love related, but I was
Right.
sad. And then the thing that I'm doing now is accepting, because I think we suffer more when we reject what it is, the feeling,
Right.
the sadness, whatever we are feeling. So I was like, okay, so I'm very sad. And so what am I going to do? I'm going to buy a bottle of wine. I'm going to buy chocolate and ice cream.
Mhm.
I'm going to clean the house because I know that being in a dirty place does not help me with sadness. It makes
Right.
it makes it harder and bigger. So I bought some podcasts that I like. I cleaned all the house, and as I was cleaning the house, because I think that the space, I think the two things, like when you're cleaning, to have a
Oh,
um
100%. You clear up the space. I agree with you
yes,
there. When I am feeling in any way emotionally like uncomfortable, sad, or anger or whatever, I clean. And I'm
really
not normally
cool.
like a tidy person, but I
No,
just
me
clean
neither.
everywhere and I keep wiping because you're just wiping and you're clearing up your
Yeah,
mind.
yeah,
It is
exactly.
amazing therapy, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So I cleaned all the space. Then I had my ice cream. Then I had my wine.
Right.
Then I watched TV show. The chocolate, I'm still eating it. It, 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 it was a huge. bar. Uh, but it helped. Like it really did because I didn't fight it. I didn't tell myself I should feel in any other way. I just embraced whatever that was happening. And yeah, and then I was okay. So I think like scheduling, if we don't have time, or if we are too busy, I think the idea that I'm going to get home, arrive home, I'm going to listen to that sad song or
Hmm.
watch that sad movie, the notebook or whatever, and I'm going to cry for whatever
Yeah,
time. And
it does work. I
it does
honestly,
work totally.
I, I remember the first time I did it actually a couple of years ago, and it was like some stuff in my life was getting difficult,
Yeah,
and I was just frustrated. I was frustrated, and I went into my bathroom and I just decided, okay, I'm going to cry.
I cry in
And
the
it
bath.
does work. It works wonders. I tell people, if you're feeling a lot, just imagine the amount of tension you're just carrying on yourself,
Yeah,
refusing to cry, refusing
cry.
to just let it out. So when
Yeah,
I feel sad, I feel sad. It's important to feel your emotions.
yeah,
So when I feel anger, I feel anger and then I let it out. I let it go. That's why I'm not on the street yelling at people because I don't keep my anger. When I feel sad, then I let it go and I am a happy
yeah.
person. It's
Cool. I
important.
I agree. You're a happy person. Yes. So, I wanted to talk to
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
So, I really like this part when she says, when did all of our lessons start to look like weapons pointed at my deepest hurt?
right.
That's for me. It's like first you love someone, and then you want to hurt someone because they
Right.
hurt you, and you feel like you need to hurt them too, and then it's very cruel when people do that. They take all of that person's insecurities because they know what it hurts the most, and then they use it against the person.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to learn that whenever someone does that to me, it says more about how that person is feeling when the
Definitely.
person wants to purposely hurt you.
Hurt you. Hmm.
Yeah,
No, but I think that there is well, I don't know who I am here, but I think that there is a wickedness to man that people hurt you, and when people want to hurt you, they hurt you the way they know you hurt. And that is I think one of the worst things in the world, and it's something that I have felt before, is telling someone what hurts you and then watching the person hurt you the way you told them you don't like to be hurt.
but do
That
you
is one of the worst things in the world.
yeah,
I
yeah,
would tell anyone.
but do you
Yeah, so
think yeah, I was going to ask you if you think when we are in relationships, be it either romantic or in
mhm.
a friendship relationship, should we tell people our vulnerabilities?
Vulnerabilities. Well, I think it's important to be, if you are, I'm not the most open person, but I
Mm,
think that if you are in a relationship that you care about and you want to be really honest in that
yeah,
relationship, it's important to also share your weaknesses.
yeah,
Um, because you don't want to always be guarded. Then you cannot really enjoy your time with that relationship. Yes, eventually it might lead to your like unfortunate hurt and unfortunate pain, but I think it's fine to be vulnerable, not with everyone, but if you want to really move forward in a relationship, I think you need to be vulnerable.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, yeah, I
definitely.
agree with you.
But it is about this again. It's about goes to my thing about longevity. I think that at some point when you see that something isn't working out, don't stay in it for the long, like just to keep it going longer. Just get out of something before you ruin it.
Yeah.
Don't
But
ruin like your memories and stuff with it.
yeah,
And when I read this thing, I liked this particular verse from the "Tell me when did your winning smile begin to look like a smirk?" Because many of us have seen that when like the things that we liked become the things that we hate, and some people don't understand that. Okay, maybe it's time to look at this again and maybe fix it or maybe just leave it or whatever. But it always happens. You go from strangers, friends, lovers, and then unfortunately enemies. But you
yeah,
could always just end at lovers. and let it be
Yeah.
good. But many
Yeah.
people love two enemies. Yeah.
No, but I think we people generally we don't want to face failure. So what I see happening with my friends and even with myself in the past is that we know that something isn't good for us, but like to have that difficult conversation to end that thing and do what? And be alone and be with that with
Yeah.
that empty space in our lives. So I've seen people like continuing things that they shouldn't. I even have given this advice in the past to my friends, like leave that situation, leave that relationship, and not up until something really like horrible happened. They couldn't like live.
Difficult conversations are difficult to have, but
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
very
We
important.
usually know when something is over, but we don't
You do.
say.
Yeah.
We, yeah.
You do. You sit and there's that moment that it hits you that it's over. But I think again, people should stop seeing short relationships as a failure.
Hmm.
If a marriage lasts 1 year and you were happy for that 1 year, it's a successful marriage. It
It
doesn't have to be
is. Yeah.
5 years for it to be a good thing. 1 year, 3 months can be a great relationship, and you just
Yeah.
walk away from a good thing and leave it a good thing. When you see that it's not, it's gonna stop being a good thing, it's time to
Hmm.
just save the, like, I don't know, the memory that you will have, that you have, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this part here when she says, I
Okay.
can't make it go away by making you a villain. I guess it's the price I paid for 7 years in heaven. And then I wanted to ask you if you know what it is. We don't have that in Brazil, I think. I've never played. Nobody ever invited me to play 7 minutes in heaven. Did you have that
Yeah,
in a
it's
country?
it's the thing where you spin the bottle and then the it points
No,
at.
no, that we have here. Truth or
Yeah, 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 but
dare. I don't
yeah, you
know.
spend 7 minutes in a closet with
Oh, yeah.
someone.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, we don't have that here. At least I was never invited to play anyway. Maybe we do, but I've never played ever. But so this 7 minutes in heaven, like it gets is the price I paid for 7 years in heaven.
Mhm.
So so you go to a
A
closet,
closet. Yeah, and you spend 7 minutes with whoever the.
waking up.
Yeah, whatever you do, it's your business. But they're usually kids, so nothing mostly happens really.
Yeah.
Well, I think I
Okay.
wasn't fond of things like this.
Okay.
But no, I like this lyric actually though, because someone asked me once, like, when does love turn to hate? And I said to the person, like, I think that every negative emotion we feel towards people that we loved isn't hate necessarily, but it's love. The pain is because of love. Everything, the anger, it's love. It's just the love taking different forms. So
Oh.
I don't think it's possible to really hate someone that you once loved.
Hmm.
You feel pain, you feel anger, especially when the person hurt you. But all of these things are just manifestations of the love that you had
Yeah.
for the person.
Otherwise, it
So I
would be
really,
indifferent, right?
yeah, right, exactly, right. And that's why when she says this, like, I can't make it go away by making you a villain, a lot of times when you just stop, think about what you're feeling towards that person, I think most people realize that they don't hate the person
No.
that they were happy with. They don't really. And it doesn't really change anything. If you hate the person or you're angry, it doesn't change like much. So you realize that you just cannot hate someone that much that you loved. I think for
No.
me, at least
No,
for
no,
me,
no. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. But it takes a lot of like wisdom and maturity to not make the person a villain because it is easier when you put all the blame on that person and and not take responsibility in what happened. It gets easier, but it's not right. It's not the truth. That person that was with you, it might have been a good person. Otherwise, you wouldn't have fallen in love with that person.
yeah, I
Is
think it's
that
important in those times to remember that you chose the person.
yeah, yeah,
So there was a reason.
yeah. No, there was
And
a reason.
you chose the
Yeah,
person, and no matter how much you feel, how angry you feel now. You chose the person and you loved the
Yeah.
person and you're happy with the person, and making the person a villain doesn't really fix it. It
No,
doesn't really fix it at all, right?
no,
So
no.
I like, actually, this was probably my favorite line in the entire song.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, no, I love that when she said the 7 years in heaven, because it felt like something that you knew that has like a
Right.
expiration date.
Mhm.
And it would be good if you entered like situations knowing that everything is temporary. The nature of life, it is temporary in itself.
Right.
So why do we think that relationships should last forever? But we do. And it would be cool, like if we entered situations knowing like, okay, so but it's not at the same time, it's not something that it is easy to say,
It
okay,
is
so we
hard.
are in this relationship for a year. Like, yeah, our marriage is going to last 2 years. Let's spend these 2 years together, and then we see.
But imagine how much you would treasure those 2 years
Yeah, right.
if you
Uh-huh.
understood the, like, the how temporary these things are, the inevitable end. Just like life,
Yeah,
will all come, it will all come to an end at some point. You would
yeah,
treasure those
yeah.
moments
No,
more,
yeah,
and then when it comes to an end, you have just beautiful, beautiful memories of a life
yeah,
that you lived. And that is
exactly.
all.
Yeah.
I
No,
think
yeah.
there, no, there are people that can stay 25 years and be in love. It's amazing, but it's not a thing
Yeah,
that everybody will experience.
yeah,
And we just have to accept that the lifespan of our relationships are different, and it will come to an end once, and just be ready
yeah,
for that when it happens.
yeah. Yeah, no, yeah.
It's
Something.
easy to say, hard to actually
No,
take
it
out
is.
to.
It is something interesting that I noticed once I moved from the city that I was in to the city that I am now, was that I haven't actually visited the touristic points of that city. And the city that I was living in, huh?
Visited? Yeah?
Visited. I
Oh, I
haven't
didn't get what
visited.
you said.
Yeah, I
I think.
haven't visited like the I always wanted, but I was living there. I could do it anytime. If I
Right.
was visiting that city for a week, I would have done everything in 1 week. So when
Mhm.
you travel to some place that you do not live in, you want to do all, and you have that time, you have a week or a month or whatever. But when you have like all, like in theory, all the time,
Right.
why to
You
do
don't treasure
anything?
it.
It's, yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like when I think that the idea with having some, but it's, I mean, it's something like we cannot meet someone and said, hey, so let's spend this amount of time together and then we go different ways and let's see. It would, I mean, I wouldn't be able to do that. I think,
It would be
w-
very, I think it would be devastating to meet someone, especially imagine just for one day, and say, you know what, today is going to be the best day of both our lives. Walk away from it. But honestly, in my life, that is what I want. I want to
yeah,
have one day that I just felt like everything,
yeah,
felt everything. And then I'll just turn around and I want to remember that there was at least one day when that happened.
yeah, yeah,
And I had that and I cherish that memory for the rest of my life. It's difficult,
yeah, but
but
it is
at the end
possible.
of
It
the
is
day, I
possible.
want to
Yeah,
have just that thing.
yeah,
Just that one day. And
yeah,
I'll
yeah. It is easier with friendships, like,
it
uh,
is.
yeah, because you can go to places. There are places that I have been where I have sit like in the sand in the beach, and I have had conversations with strangers that it felt like we connected deeply, and then we walked away from each other without exchanging numbers. And
Mhm.
I remember some really nice conversations. I have written about them. So I think it is possible to have those moments with strangers,
Yes.
friends, like
One of my
maybe.
just like you, one of my favorite moments was with a stranger. We met in the city center. A song was playing, and we were both singing the song. And we just
Wow.
talked and talked. And at the end of the day, we didn't exchange numbers. And that was just a great moment that just lives on in my head
Yeah,
forever.
no promises. So from now on, we are going to be this and that.
That's right. It was just a great evening that I didn't expect, and I don't think he expected. But we were in the center, and the song was playing, we're singing it, and the song cut
Wow.
out, and we're like, and just walked and talked, and an amazing evening, an amazing experience with no nothing, just a beautiful experience. And I think everybody should experience that with friendships, loves, just one evening, one day that you will never forget. And
Wow,
that's all.
perfect. Yeah, yeah. Wow, Daniel, thank you. Thank you so much for this conversation.
It's
So
always fun.
yeah, it is for me, it is always a pleasure and it is always fun to talk to you. So thank you once again for doing this with me. And I wish you a great
Good.
evening.
It's nice.
Yeah, and a lifetime of happiness and one night
One night
loves.
of extreme happiness.
One night what?
That sounds bad. One
Uh,
night of I don't know.
Of relationships. I don't know.
Gets
Yeah,
worse.
it is sad and bad to say this, but uh,
No, no, I think it's fine. I really do want one day when I'm like 80, no matter what has happened in my life, that I'll just remember this day and have that treasure that memory and have know that nothing ruined it. And that is
perfect.
it.
Yeah. I hope you have plenty of those memories then.
So
Yeah. So I'll talk
thank you.
to you soon. Thank
All
you
right.
so much
All right.
and
Have a
have a
nice
nice
goodbye.
evening. Bye bye.